Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be making a modified spoon swirl technique. So I've got 4 colors in total. I've got this spicy tomato color I'm mixing here. Got that turquoise teal that I previously mixed, and then black, which is wicked mica. And then I'm going to reserve a portion that's uncolored for this project. So what I did was I took these little squirt bottles that I got from Walmart years ago. I think you can get these on Amazon. It doesn't make a big difference, but I lined them with these packing bubbles that I just deflated and put in there. I got that as a tip from another soap channel. I can't remember which channel it was, but it makes cleanup a lot easier. But here I'm just adding my liquid oils to my melted oils to cool down the batch, and then I have this fragrance called Stargazing, I think, from Nature's Garden Candles. It really lowered the temperature of the batch, but as of the moment of making this, I didn't know how Stargazing was going to react, so it's I like surprises, but ultimately it ended up being fine, so no big deal. But now I'm adding my lye, getting it all mixed up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it to emulsed. Now you can get it to light trace or even medium trace for this technique. I prefer to do emulsed just because, again, if I'm using a fragrance oil that I'm not familiar with, I would rather make it as thin as possible first, and then, if it starts rising or accelerating, just deal with the consequences of that. But anyway, so I have these 4 colors and I'm splitting it up into 4 equal portions. So 44 ounces of soap was 11 ounces a piece. But for some reason, when I was doing my uncolored portion, which I was weighing directly into the bottle, I only had like 8 ounces. So I'm not really sure what happened there as far as the measurements were concerned. I mean, I had like a fraction of an ounce more in, like, I think the black or something, but not enough to account for like 4 whole ounces. But maybe my calculations were off. I don't know. It doesn't matter though, because with this color, I just kind of spread it out a little bit more evenly instead of making it so that not all of it was used up in the beginning or at the end. So I would sporadically put it in there, and you'll see me do that a little bit later. But yeah, so that's what I did with these colors. I'll mention too, I'm a little sick right now, so I may sound a little congested or tired or whatever it may be, which, yeah, it's been a long day. But I discovered this thing called halotherapy, and I have pretty bad asthma, and it's been bothering me all winter. And halotherapy is, if you don't know what it is, you sit in this little chamber, kind of like a sauna, but it's not hot in there. It's like piping out aerosolized salt, or medical grade salt is what they say. And you're basically breathing it in. And boy, I'll tell you, my nose was running so bad by the end of that, which is good because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to like loosen up all that stuff. So I'm hoping that it really helps me. And then I did a nice soak when I got home in magnesium salts. But anyway, so the mold I used for this is this vertical kind of mold that somebody made for me years ago, and it's acrylic and it comes apart pretty easily, but I lined it, and yeah, I don't use it very often because I hate lining molds. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I used it for this one because I prefer it for this technique. So anyway, as you can see, I'm just kind of flopping the color back and forth in stripes. You've probably done this for other techniques, and this is why I call it modified spoon swirl, because typically you just take a spoon and do the same thing, and then it just kind of like splatters across. But to me, this is a lot faster. So, but anyway, this is the point where I just pour the rest of the batter into the bottles, and that way I don't have as many dishes. Well, I still have dishes, but anyway, I can get these at least out of my way. And you can see along the way that as the batter gets a little bit thicker, the lines are a lot more defined. You can really see the change in, like when I'm squirting it on there, you can see a big difference, which before it seemed, since it was so thin, they just kind of swirled together a little bit. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like when I cut it. Like if the bottom is a lot more flat. Overall, the colors are flat, so again, it'll just be interesting to see what this looks like. Hopefully it's, I don't know, hopefully it's interesting and not like trashy, but I picked these colors because they're just, I don't know, like, it's not a color combination I really would have thought of, like with the red and the turquoise, but I'm kind of curious to see how it'll turn out. But since these will be cut like a normal way, I just did a little swirl on the top. And this mold fits in my crock pot like usual, and it's got a handy dandy lid that I can put in there. And I'm just gonna quote unquote oven process it. But you can see these liners also kind of leave a lot left in the bag, so I've got to pull them out and squeeze them out. And that's one of the downsides of this, of not having it just straight in the squeezer thingy. But I don't know, it doesn't bother me that much. I don't mind squeezing them out. But I do something a little different with this mold here. I paint the bottom of it with some gold. So I'll be interested to see what this looks like when it comes out. So I pour in my black first, and then I put in red, and then I swirl it around. When I cut the loaf, I'll be sure to show you what this looks like when I pop it out. Alrighty, and here we're unmolding everything, and it didn't turn out as good as I'd hoped it would. Maybe if I let it harden a little bit more. But I was really surprised to see how pretty this swirl was on top, because the uncolored soap didn't really pop as well as I was seeing when I was making it, but as it hardened, it really whitened up. So anyway, I struggle a little bit trying to get this out of the mold. This is why I don't really like molds that you have to line. I like the silicone ones that you can just basically pop them out. But I loosened it a little bit, and then it finally came out. But you can see I had a little leakage in the corner, but not much. So here it is. Another thing about lining soaps is that the ends tend to be a little bit more bowed out for some reason. So I have to trim those off so that they're not. But, they're samples, so that works too. But yeah, it turned out pretty nice, I think. Especially when you're actually doing this, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. And I think with any technique, unless it's like really popping in your face, like it just doesn't look like it's doing anything. But in this case, it did actually do something, and it was pretty cool. And like I've said before, these little fingers are each about an inch, so each bar is about an inch wide. I don't know what that matte section is on there, but here's the final result. And here's the colors that I used and the ratios that I used them in to make this. And again, be patient with the uncolored portion because it will pop eventually. And here it is too. So I called this Another Story. I don't know why. It's just something that popped in my head when I was trying to come up with a name, and that's usually the gist of it, is I just come up with some random name. But that'll be it for today. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!